Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're taking our first look at Rachel Summers, the third character introduced along with Kid Omega and Kitty Pryde in this latest X-Men update that is not out yet. For those of you wondering and who aren't caught up to date for some reason, I am on a test build brought to you by Netmarble via the Star Agent program, so thank you to Netmarble for that. Everything you see and everything I'm doing here, and I'm showing you stats, numbers, talking about it, effects, skill, buffs, whatever, can be changed. These are not the final set in stone values for the update. As far as when the update is going live, I don't know exactly, but my guess would be the 11th of September at night, or sorry, in the morning, which would be the 10th of September, very, very late at night into the 11th. So I'm talking like 1 or 2 a.m. if you're on the East Coast. I'm talking like 10, 11 p.m. if you're on the West Coast of the United States. And then if you are anywhere else in the world, you just got to do the math on where it would be, but probably leaning towards the Wednesday morning, afternoon type schedule. But that's just my guess. It could actually be sooner because of the pre-update event thing ending a day sooner, but we still haven't seen patch notes as of this recording. One more thing I want to mention specifically about these new characters, Kid Omega, Rachel Summers, and Kitty Pryde. I'm going to do videos on Kitty Pryde and Kid Omega, but more so than uniforms, I am hesitant to make videos on new characters because I've never gotten the opportunity to play them on my real account in the live game when the regular servers are up. Whereas I've already played with Cyclops, I've played with Colossus, I've played with Emma Frost, so on and so forth. So I have a baseline for how good they are in the real game in PvE and PvP. So two things to note here. I've never played with these characters on my real account with my cards and my alliance bonus, etc. So I don't know if there's going to be a big gap between them here and them there. Additionally, there is no PvP in the beta test because there is no server to pull the beta names from. There's no one here, of course, because no one's playing, and no one's playing because when you play, you just see a bunch of bots. These are all like, you know, just first-time beginner fights that you will randomly run into. You can see all of the names are kind of like set names: Owen, Andrew, Billy, Johnny, Felix. These are not real accounts, obviously. These are just populated for brand new players, and if you've ever started a brand new account, or if you started recently, you've definitely seen some of these teams pop up. They're just populated as sort of like easy targets for your first few fights in Marvel Future Fight in the PvP arena, so that you can feel a bit better and you can kind of get your bearings and not just be thrown to the wolves with like crazy accounts. So because I can't test PvP, because I don't have a baseline for these characters, it's a bit more of something that's hypothetical. I'm a little bit more in the dark. However, Rachel Summers seems quite strong. Now, again, I don't think she's going to blow anybody out of the water. I don't think she's going to set new goals for any sort of meta in terms of PvE or PvP, because there are already characters that do what she does better than she does, but I think she will be very strong. I'm thinking somewhere around the lines of like Psylocke, possibly a little bit better than baseline Psylocke, which is pretty impressive. Now, she only has 2 skills that deal elemental damage, but as you can see, she has a lot of text on her skills. The one criticism is that all of her all defense down skills do not apply to world bosses because they don't have the ignore immunity value, which is unfortunate. But the good thing, on the other hand, for Rachel is she has very high base stats, and we'll talk about that in a second. Her Apocalypse, Cosmic Apocalypse, applies the 5 seconds of mind control at the beginning of the skill, which is very strong, and it also increases the damage that the enemy receives by 25%. Now, this is kind of a new ability. We've seen it a little bit on some other characters, but it's fairly fresh. I think Scarlet Witch has it on her 4th skill as well. Yeah, increased damage received by 6%. A lot less than 25. So we don't yet know what the impact of increasing the damage by a flat value of 25% is. We don't know how it's calculated in the damage modifiers, if it's a multiplicative or additive bonus, but it could make her a very strong striker if she provides both offense and defense with mind control and increased damage received at the same time. She also has the all defense down, but again, it doesn't stack up against world bosses. But then her 5th skill, although it has very high buffs, including a 15% heal, and crazy that Rachel Summers gets a heal, but you know, Colossus and Emma Frost don't. But the awkward thing is, for Rachel Summers, the cooldown of her skills. So this is kind of the interesting thing. Rachel Summers has good some good PvP traits. So the good PvP traits that she has is that she has 40% guaranteed dodge, which is rare for a blast type, and also strong for PvP because guaranteed dodge is one of the ways to foil certain characters like Jean Grey and Captain Marvel. And she also has a low cooldown on her first skill and her second skill. So 7 and 8 seconds means that she can trigger those skills really quickly at the beginning of a fight, kind of like Strife. And her first skill in particular, with a 3.5 second cooldown, has an immediate iframe, so you can use that to stall right at the beginning of the fight. But then the rest of her kit doesn't really feel very PvP oriented, although she does have the heal. It's only 15%, and with long cooldowns, 20 seconds here on the 5th skill. It's kind of hard to see, I gotta scroll it up. 20 seconds here on the 5th skill, another 16 seconds here, and another 16 seconds there. It's going to be really hard to take down opponents, and the Blast class is already so bloated with heavyweight PvP targets. You're talking Jean Grey and Doctor Strange, but then you're also talking Strife and a bunch of others, not to mention whatever noise Cyclops and Emma Frost are going to make in this update, and anyone else. So yeah, on the other hand, for PvE, those long cooldowns make it awkward for her to actually operate consistently. So you can't proc every single time on the 5th skill. Although it does really good damage, it's every 10 seconds. We all know that that just doesn't work. Ask Iceman. Speaking of Iceman, when I went and I looked into her skills, because I actually went ahead and did a comparison between Rachel and Emma Frost with the uniform, and I'll show you the comparison in just a bit. But when I checked out her stats, I noticed she has really, really high base stats. Specifically looking at energy attack and HP, but her energy attack base at level 60 with the rank, with the mastery, is 8,520. To put that in perspective, there are 2 characters that have that value or higher at tier 2. One is Jean Grey, who has the exact same, can I press the button please? Who has the exact same value. So her, Rachel and Jean, same value, 8,500, which is crazy. She has the same base energy attack as a native tier 2. And then there's one character in the Blast class, if you can guess, drumroll please, who has a higher native energy attack stat. I bet no one's going to be guessing this one because it actually took me several attempts to guess who it was. Iceman. That's right, Iceman has a base attacks energy attack stat of 9,100. He's got the highest base attack stat of any blast type, but that's pretty mental. Compare that to Emma Frost at tier 2. She has just under 7,000, so she's like 1,500 energy attack lower than Rachel, and then the HP is actually exactly the same. It's 15,807, so that is pretty wild. She has almost 10,000 base energy attack before modifiers and buffs. That is pretty bananas. So now let's go ahead and take her into the 2 comparisons that I wanted to show you guys. The first one is a stage 30. We'll actually drop it down to stage 25, Cull Obsidian. This is going to be the team up for both Emma and Rachel. There is not a way to compare them without any sort of disparity because, Emma's got the mythic uniform and all that other stuff. Rachel doesn't, but the builds otherwise are pretty similar, although Emma is using a CTP of energy, now that I think about it, and Rachel is using a 120 proc. So I did put the 8-ball behind Rachel a little bit. She's got a fire damage, crit rate, 120 proc. The crit rate's not really that useful because her 5th skill gives her 30% for 10 seconds, so you only have to go up to 45% for her crit rate. She may be a good target for a CTP of Rage because of those long cooldowns on the 5th skill, but her other skills don't really seem to do that much damage by comparison. So we're going to go ahead and go in with this team. We do also get the all attack crit damage buff that she doesn't give for Emma, but that's okay. It's basically the same one. Basically the same team up bonuses. Kitty Pryde's team up and leadership are going to apply for both Emma and Rachel, so we don't have to worry about that. Cull Obsidian is going to make Rachel look bad. That's kind of my first sort of, clip for you. We're only going to do this for a minute, but we're going to use the 4th skill for the mind control, and then we're going to use the 5th skill for damage. But now we run into a problem here because we can't proc again on 5. So we're just going to proc again on, we're going to proc on 4, and we're kind of just going to try not to die here. Sorry about that. But, the damage on her other skills just doesn't really, it doesn't really do much. Her 3rd skill seems like it might be very, very good for PvP. The really good thing about Rachel, specifically for PvE, and you'll see against Ebony she looks a lot better, is that her 4th skill, Mind Control, her 4th skill is not bad actually, but her 4th skill, Mind Control, man, can you stop bleeding me? You're actually going to kill me. Her 4th skill, Mind Control, applies at the beginning of the skill, which is very, very good. It's like Scarlet Witch's 4th skill. So they actually have something in common, which is kind of cute. But it is hard to, as you can see, consistently proc on her 5th skill. You basically have to run around and waste 3 seconds. Otherwise, you have to just settle for proccing on her 4th skill. But it's honestly not that bad, but it's not as good as her 5th skill. Obviously, the 4 cancel 5 combo is king. So at about 1 minute, with a bit of shakiness because of almost dying, we got down to about 14.5 bars. Now let's go check out Emma Frost. And again, this is not the most scientific comparison, obviously, but on the one hand, it does show you that Rachel hits pretty damn hard. And if you didn't get that reference, I apologize. It's supposed to be from The Dark Knight. Or no, not The Dark Knight. Yes, The Dark Knight. Wait, maybe Batman Begins. I can't remember. Anyways, let's see how Emma Frost does with the same sort of situation. So we cancel 3, we cancel 5, we go into 4, so we don't get guard broken, and we lay down like more than 1 bar's worth of damage. We do the same thing over again, but you can see the main difference is that yeah, there's a lot more damage. But on top of having more damage, you can see that Emma just is a lot smoother against Cull Obsidian because she doesn't have to worry about getting guard broken. So whereas Rachel, although she has 40% guaranteed dodge because she doesn't have any super armor or any invincibility, and there I kind of missed the proc, but there you go. In half the time, we did the same amount of damage. So yes, Cull Obsidian makes Rachel look a lot worse because I have to worry about getting guard broken. So I have to use the 4th skill, Mind Control, almost defensively. But because of Emma Frost's super armor on her 3rd skill, she can just go ahead and face tank and do the rotation against Ebony or against Cull Obsidian a lot more successfully. Now let's jump into a different stage. And again, I'm not meant to make Rachel look bad, but now let's go into Ebony stage 36. Same team. First, we're going to go in with Emma Frost. And this is where small changes in when certain abilities on skills activate, whether Mind Control activates at the beginning of the skill, like Scarlet Witch and Rachel, or whether it activates somewhere in the middle or at the end for someone like Psylocke or Emma Frost, actually has a meaningful impact on certain bosses. Cull Obsidian doesn't really matter, he never iframes, but with this slippery bastard, it matters a lot. So we're going to use the same team up here, but because we may or may not get the Mind Control to happen at the right point of the skill, we can get interrupted. So here we don't get interrupted, which is amazing because you can see the skill damage is really, really high. But you can imagine that if I do get interrupted, it's going to really hurt my damage because it's going to interrupt her 4th skill. Because her 4th skill is not an iframe, you will suffer that loss, you know, like, for example, like that. Now, I knew Ebony was going to do that, so I kind of did that on purpose, but that is an example of Emma losing damage and therefore may possibly appear worse or not as good, whereas you can see the value inherent in someone like Rachel. And again, this is just a first look. I'm not comparing her to Emma Frost saying she's better or worse. Obviously, it's an unfair comparison, but on the other hand, on top of the other buffs that she has, she's a pretty interesting character. That 4th skill really, really shines against Ebony. So we're going to show it off here. We immediately Mind Control him into the 5th skill, and you can see the damage is... it's not that much worse. If the cooldown on her... Sorry, I hit try again. I got fat fingers. If the cooldown on Rachel's 5th skill was, you know, let's say instead of 20 seconds, if it was like 17 or 16, you could proc that baby every single rotation with your CTP of energy or possibly a rage or even a double fire damage proc, and you might be seeing some really nasty numbers. So, you know, it might just take Rachel getting a little bit of a change. It might take Rachel getting a uniform, but you can see how much better she looks. And again, she's not necessarily competing with Emma Frost because that's really hard for a character who doesn't have a uniform to do. But damn, girl, you were not looking that good against Cull Obsidian, and now you're looking like the whole snack. Look at this. Look at this damage. This is some nice damage. This is like just 5 seconds or so off. 5 or 6 seconds off of what Emma Frost was doing, and she does it with a very smooth rotation. Now, it is a bit of an altered rotation because on the first try, and we're going to nail him here as soon as we get through these, we're going to Mind Control his ass, then boom, clap him with that 5th skill. You can't do that twice in a row. So that's kind of the bummer for Rachel. You have to sort of clap back with just the 4th skill, although the 4th skill is not bad. It is just under half a bar of damage. But then when you get him on that 2nd try, oh baby. So every other rotation, we kind of missed it here, which is kind of disappointing. We had some residual damage, I think, from 3 that accidentally triggered our proc. She's got a lot of sort of dot damage over time, kind of just lingering around. But yeah, with that mind control and with all of these lingering attacks, she really triggers her procs very successfully and very consistently. She's got a lot of lingering effects. The 5th skill has those lingering rocks. Then the 4th skill, the 3rd skill has that orb. The 2nd skill throws up more rocks, kind of like Scarlet Witch. Honestly, Rachel reminds me in a lot of ways of Scarlet Witch, despite the fact that she doesn't have a beam skill, because even though she doesn't have the iframe on 5, she plays very similarly, where you want to do 4 cancel 5 to get the maximum amount of damage. The 4th skill provides all of those debuffs to the enemy, the mind control, the increased damage received, and then you slap them with that 5th skill with that crazy damage, and you see them melt. I'll say this. If Rachel Summers' fire resist, that 10 seconds, if that applied to world bosses, if that had ignore immunity, and if her 4th skill decreased fire resistance and also the all defense down, that minus 15%, if those applied to world bosses, you could bet she would be in the running for one of the best PvE tier 2s in the game, possibly the best, because she would be absolutely disintegrating Ebony, Maw, and other world bosses. As it stands now, the only way to get Rachel, and again, we're going to have to wait for the patch notes and wait for the live server to see, is through the Danger Room. So the Danger Room, once you play it on certain seasons, there's going to be something called Rachel's Training, and that will probably allow you to get her bios more frequently. In addition to that, when you can build up to at least Platinum, you will be able to also get her X-Gene bios from the chest. For those of you wondering what the chest looks like, I believe I still have 1 left over from the first time. Oh, we have 2 left over. Perfect. So this is a level 2 or 3 proficiency chest. Let's pop this one. One of your items has reached its max limit. You cannot open this box. What item has reached its max limit? I guess probably this? Sure. Let's just sell 22 of these and we'll see. Whatever. Doesn't matter. This is just a fake. It's just a test account. All right, come on. Knock it off. Let's open these boxes. I want to see what is going down. Okay. Let's open the other one. Okay. So that wasn't very good. But we'll have to wait and see what the rewards are for the Danger Room in terms of the Rachel's Training and in terms of the other chests. The daily rewards seem good. I got 15 bios of Storm and 15 bios of another character, but that was kind of bad. But yes, if you're wondering where to get her biometrics, it's either from the Platinum boxes or it is from the Rachel Summers special training, but we have no idea what that is right now. We're going to have to wait to see patch notes to find out. So let me know what you guys think of Rachel Summers. That was a pretty PvP or pretty free-to-play centered build, but yeah, she can still get a lot better. So she's pretty crazy potential right now. Subscribe if you enjoy the content, you want to support me, and of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you later today. Take care.